The voice of growth. Mastering the mind and market. Timeless wisdom, proven strategies, and the deep work that creates lasting success. Like and subscribe to stay aligned with what truly drives results.
Welcome to the Voice of Growth podcast, Mastering the Mind and Market. My name is Manny Teran, and I'm your host. Inspiration. Inspiration is a very powerful tool to motivate you, to get you to think differently, to get you to look at your vision in a different way. Inspiration can take you to the top of the mountain and give you a different perspective, or inspiration can knock you down to the bottom of the valley and get you to the point where, how the hell am I going to get out of the situation? It's such a powerful tool that we forget how to use it. Now, I've talked about desire. Desire is that central nuclear reactor inside of you that is giving you the energy to day in and day out work on creating and making your vision true. Desire is the central piston making all of these things happen. Now, inspiration is the fuel that nuclear reactor uses, among other fuels. But today we're talking about inspiration. Inspiration is something that can give you the motivation to finish that project where you've been sort of dragging your feet on. It gives you the inspiration to make that phone call that you didn't want to make, or reach out across the aisle to that person that maybe you have a bit of an issue with, or you've got that contentious relationship for some reason. It gives you the ability to clear the air. And inspiration is a powerful tool. And for me, over the past few weeks, I've had some very inspirational conversations with new friends and old friends, to the point where I wanted to bring it up because it's such a powerful tool. The first meeting I'll talk about is with a gentleman I've known for about a decade. And didn't know him that well. He works for the university. But the more I learned about what he actually does, he's part of a global movement, companies in the shipping industry, all these things that I had no idea he was part of. And the more time we spent together at lunch, the more I realized that I need to shore up some things that I've been working on by saying no. Because sometimes yes means no. Yes means no to these 5 other things. Yes means I need to walk away from projects that are half started, or that are maybe the ROI isn't where it should be. And so the inspiration I got from him is, look, this guy is doing so much, and he's doing it by staying highly focused on these couple of areas, and everything else goes by the wayside. Powerful tool. The second meeting that was inspiring for me was a guy I've known for even longer. And I hadn't seen him for about 5 years. We just sat down for breakfast. And I'm just inspired by his story, where he came from. This is a guy that's created hundreds of millions of dollars for himself and his family and his partners. And I'm just blown away because his roots are so humble, but he's got that fervor, that energy inside him that he will not be slowed down. And that inspired me as well, because I didn't come from the silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't come from the elite, the creme de la creme. I came from a small border city town where I struggled, and I saw my mom struggle, and our family didn't have a lot, but we had plenty. And so oftentimes, especially growing up, I had a tendency to sort of drop into that victim state. And I rejected that years ago. I firmly believe that after a certain point of time, you can't blame your past anymore. As you're growing up, trying to figure out yourself, you're looking at your past, and you're being drugged down and taken down by feeling like a victim, by woe is me, all that. And I'm not discounting, by the way, the fact that mental health is an issue. You can be depressed. You can have lots of stuff happen there. And I'm not saying that it's easy to just brush away your past and say, you know what, I'm just going to turn over a new leaf. I'm going to do this other thing. It's monumentally difficult. I get it. What I am saying is that we need to at least point our vision in the direction that we want to go in, that hopefully is away from or in a different direction than our past. I will not be a victim. And this guy I had breakfast with, hell no. He had a lot of crazy things happen in his youth that, as he was telling me this, I was like, great Scott, this guy has been through a lot. And he's there, he's present. He talked about it as part of his story. But just like a book has early chapters and later chapters, he made it very clear that the chapters that brought him down or caused him lots of pain and suffering were in the past. These are now new chapters that he's writing. And even though he's made tons of money, he's now doing all kinds of things with both organizations that support athletes in different ways. He's doing work with foundations, and he's now figuring out ways to take what he's created, his wealth, his currency, and translating it into these mechanisms that create a common good and provide for countless people. And I think that's also was an inspiration for me. As I build my network, as I build my net worth, looking at how would I want to deploy that in the future. And even though we all know that tomorrow is guaranteed to no one, at least thinking about what do I want to do for the world within the next 30 years. And what I say the word within very carefully, because we can also be fallen into the trap of thinking, what will I create when I turn 75 as a line in the sand? And we basically don't do anything until it's too late. So I think of things a little differently. I think of things as not just the destination, but enjoying the ride. And in order to reach the destination, I need to figure out a way of getting that ride, of providing the fertile ground in order to create the manifestation of what I want in the future. And to go back to inspiration, one of the things about inspiration that I believe needs to happen is you need to take these moments of inspiration, whether it's this podcast, which I certainly push and aim for this to be an inspiration to my audience, but also these other inspirational moments and conversations with people that you might see. You need to spend time actually with the inspiration itself and write it down. So spending time after these meetings, going back to my moleskin, my notebook, and writing why these things inspired me, and writing what are the result of the inspiration for me. What will I do because of it? Putting it down, pen to paper, really serves a couple things. First of which, it gives a monument. It basically puts that in stone so that you remember these things that inspired you. Because inspiration, just like that fuel, like I mentioned earlier, can run out. You can have an inspirational moment, and over the course of time, as you forget about it, as you get distracted, it starts to go down to the point where eventually it wears off to some degree. And when you write it down and you go back to that moment, it gives you a bump again, and it brings you back to that level. So first thing I did, write it down, put it on paper, and say, this is what the story was with what I learned. And then the second thing is, this is why it was inspirational to me. This is why it created a sense of urgency in me. This is why This is getting me excited about XYZ. Write that second thing, that second element is write all that stuff down of what the inspiration gave you. And then the third thing, which is the most powerful thing, is what will you do about it? It's one thing to be inspired. It's one thing to recognize what it can do for you, but it's something completely different to actually design a motivational structure that will be executed on to create what you're trying to create. Let me break it down so it's a little easier. The conversation I had this morning, the breakfast conversation about building generational wealth and being able to create a foundation and do all these things, what it did for me, so that was the inspiration. The second element for me was that it gave me a stronger and more sharp focus of the foundation that I want to create and that I am creating for my hometown in the future. And I'll go through this later with when I have a few things sort of figured out. Not quite yet. I won't divulge it just yet. And the third thing that I'm taking from this are the actual deliverables and specific elements that I need to put in place today in order to reach that vision realized. And even though there's small steps, I need to start doing these things now. Otherwise, the way that life is, you all know this, it's a blur. You start working on one thing, things move forward, and that's already in the rearview mirror. And by the time you know it, it's a different city. And so it has to happen. These things have to happen. You know, a lot of success, a lot of making things happen in your life literally has to do with mind share. Mind share is directly linked, or could also be referred to as energy. What do you put your energy into? What do you put your time and resources into? Because that's what's going to get done. If you have a library of books, which I do, you haven't read 90% of them, which I haven't either, but I think about them as I walk by and I'm like, man, I really want to read that book. Well, that isn't enough. Thinking and saying that you're going to read that book and pondering, man, I really want to read that book is nothing without the desire and without the energy, which means you actually have to go open the damn book and read it. So that is as plain of an example as I can use regarding what energy means. And sometimes energy is tied to so many other things, because we all have a certain amount of time during the day that we can use towards certain things. And we have elements like social media that can drain your time. I had a moment last night when I'm reading a book right now that I'm going to actually review because it's such a powerful book. And even though it doesn't have any Stoic words, it doesn't say Stoic on the title or anywhere in the book, the elements held within are 100% Stoic, among other very powerful philosophies. So, and the book is called The Mountain Is You. And so I'll do a kind of a review on that in the future when I'm done with it. But the point I'm making here is I sat down, I was reading it for a while, and then I grabbed my phone to check the time, and I really quickly fell into the social media trap. And, let me just check this real quick. And 15 minutes later, I'm like, shit, here I am, like trying to spend time on this book, and I got hooked in to the social media trap. So in order to get this book done and read it and actually be able to enjoy the experience, but more importantly, enjoy the fruits of the labor of what I learned from this book, I need to make the trade-off. I need to take this, put it in a different room, maybe set a timer or whatever. So I got to create these things. Otherwise, I will not get through that book. Clear as day. I need to spend time with that book. I'll mention a few more things about inspiration. Inspiration is also extremely contagious. Inspiration is something that can happen one to one, one to many, and many to one. And then the last one is internally. So one to one, easy. Me and these gentlemen having these conversations, one to one. They inspired me with their accolades, with their stories, with their histories, whatever. Inspiration, one to one. Conversely, I can also inspire them with what I'm doing, some of the challenges that I've faced. So it can go, it's bi-directional. It can also be many to one, where you are sitting there looking across a landscape of things happening in your life. Maybe there's a panel. Maybe there is something you're looking at on online where there's all these things happening. And that is a situation where many people are inspiring you individually. Conversely, you can be standing in front of a crowd, inspiring thousands. So that can kind of go both ways. And then the last kind of inspiration is one that is drawn from your own internal thinking. Have you ever inspired yourself? Well, I have. And it's quite a hell of a feeling when you're looking at and assessing your own life and thinking, man, I did that. Man, I went through that. Man, I really failed at that. And I learned about that. And so this internal inspiration is also something that you should be writing down in your notebook, in your journal. Because these are the things that create the momentum, whether it's the one-to-many or one-to-one or your own internal inspiration, gets that flywheel moving so that you don't forget as time goes down. There's some simple things you can also do, is you can write small notes around your house so that you remember when certain things inspired you. So that you could keep that momentum and that inspiration working for you in a manner in which is, I wouldn't say perpetual motion machine because you need to keep on feeding it, but in a manner that will carry you through till the next time that you need it. And the last thing I'll say today is be intentional about inspiration. Seek out conversations that are going to inspire you, that are going to challenge you, which, by the way, is another fuel, another tool for desire, is being challenged, facing adversity, doing the hard things. Spend the time actually seeking these things out. So you're pulling them in, but also spend time inspiring others. Have conversations, be vulnerable, spend time and spend energy with people that you're mentoring, with folks that need to hear your message, and stick your neck out. I mean, this is a full contact sport. We've talked about, and life is going to end for all of us. So the time that you've got, inspire. Spend that time, polish your story, make an effort to be inspirational. And believe me, when you inspire other people, that is almost like an echo in a cave that's going to come right back and inspire you. And it's going to give you that additional fuel that you can use to motivate yourself to build the desire in order to take your vision and make it real. Find a way, be inspired, and also inspire. And there's nothing more satisfying than when you're sitting across the table inspiring somebody and you can see the energy transference, you can see their eyes light up, and then you follow them through time and see their careers rise. I've had that distinct pleasure of inspiring people and then seeing their careers progress, and then having those moments years later when they're like, man, thank you so much for helping me with this. And sometimes it wasn't a direct, like I thought I was inspiring them, but they took inspiration from my actions. Because at the end of the day, actions is what get things done. We can talk about it, we can pontificate about it, we can write stuff down, but unless we take the action, unless we spend the time being vulnerable and using our precious resources of time and energy and motivation, then nothing will get done. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Cheers.